Hello, my name's Sticky Barrett. My name's Joe Gittleman. A couple of guys from the mighty Bosstones. And if we were to pick our friends by the color of their skin, there would be no mighty Bosstones, because we're 8 very different people from 8 very different places, and I think we love each other, and I think you can love each other too. Car thing, and you know, it'll always be ska music.
The mighty Bosstones, No Doubt, and Smash Mouth are 3 of last year's biggest bands. But chart-topping crossover hit singles aren't the only thing they have in common. They also share the same musical roots, ska, and are at the leading edge of what's considered to be the 3rd most successful wave of ska revival. We send Dub's poet and freelance journalist Clifton Joseph to do some serious two-tone skanking with 2 generations of ska kings.
Right now, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a ska band in the head, you know what I mean?
And if the latest ska revival hasn't hit you in the head, it's only a matter of time before the music of the mighty Bosstones, No Doubt, or Smash Mouth stop you dead in your tracks. These third-wave ska bands are making ska one of the most popular forms of modern rock by scoring chart hits, packing clubs, selling CDs, and inspiring scores of gangster compilations.
You might as well be walking on the sun.
This is his third coming. What's responsible now at this point for the recent popularity of
the mighty
Bosstones?
No, that's not true. I think that we've helped keep it alive for a long time. You know, we've been a band for 12 years, and it certainly wasn't popular for most of those 12 years, I can assure you. But I don't know. I think the ska scene overall has always sort of thrived.
This version of ska, this third stream, third coming of ska, seems to have caught the music industry by a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because the music industry is... Because they're always caught by surprise, man. You know, they don't know what's coming. By the time anyone was interested in us, we were already drawing like 1,500 people in every city in America. You know, it's like, it was big, you know, and it was big to the point where you couldn't help but notice, you know, and, you know, they have to be hit over the head with something to say, oh, what is this? And they even said when they were like, well, geez, you know, I don't get it, but I'm not going to try and get it. All I know is something's going on here.
And what's been going on since the early 60s is the highly energetic, danceable, and hypnotic offbeat of ska. The music developed when groups like the Blues Busters and ska survivors, the Scatolites, fused rhythm and blues, early rock and roll, and jazz with their local mento sound, which eventually developed into reggae. But back in 1963, it was pure ska.
I'm in the mood for ska, simply because they're near me.
Ska's second wave erupted in the streets of Britain in the 1970s, fueled in part by an influx of Jamaican immigrants who had brought their music to London's working-class neighborhoods. Paul Stewart is a veteran ska man who played with the Toronto band Scarface and has followed the scene in the UK and Canada.
So what you had was basically white punk and their new next-door neighbors playing reggae and ska, and they kind of blended the two because the musics were very, very similar. They spoke to the same feelings, the same sense of hopelessness and betrayal. And so there's a commonality between them. They were all working class suffering the same problems.
The punk ska fusion of English bands like the Specials and the English Beat helped popularize the two-tone music movement, symbolizing black and white solidarity in the face of the ravages of Thatcherism and the National Front's rabid racism. Two-tone ska crested in the late 70s, when along with bands like The Clash and Elvis Costello and The Attractions, they headlined massive rock against racism concerts calling for political action.
That second wave of ska was much more overtly political than the first one in terms of the connection to rock against racism and political parties and so on. How important was politics to what you were doing?
Well, that was part of the punk ethic, if you like. It was all we were doing. We were putting, if you like, punk lyrics to, you know, to the Jamaican rhythms. Because that was the thing about the Specials. There was black people and white people working together. There was black music and white music working together all on the same stage.
You mentioned the Specials, the Clash and the English Beat and so on. You move with a particular kind of social consciousness. Did you take that from them? Is that one of the things that came down?
I think that's you know, if there was something that we learned from the Clash and the Specials, I think the message is one, you know, if you're any kind of an intelligent man, you know, to have a closed mind and to try and live your life in a manner by which you're picking your friends and your associates by the color of their skin or by their sexual preference. You won't get far in life, and you'll end up leading a very sheltered existence. And we're a very, you know, we're a multiracial band. We're 8 very different people from 8 very different places. And more than anything else, more than singing about it, I'd like to think that we maybe lead by example.
The two-tone movement reflected the lives and the thinking of the people who were playing it, which was a very small community. Well, now there is such a range of people, such a range of backgrounds, both musical, philosophical, lifestyle, being incorporated into ska music, that you can't say anymore that there is a message, that there is a philosophy, and that's not a bad thing.
I have this fear that ska will turn into this kind of revenge of the nerd music, you know, this sort of frat party sort of stuff. But I think it's important because just as it came from punk, which had things to say, you know, I think it should, you know, you've got a platform to say something, and you should, there are plenty of things to write about. Injustice is timeless. You know, it doesn't go out of fashion.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?
And third-wave ska bands kept the music and its message in fashion in the 80s when it was all but ignored by radio and record companies by touring relentlessly. Today, new bands like the Arsenals, Jersey, and the Planet Smashers are gigging next to survivors of the first and second waves. And whether ska stays in fashion or not, the third wave will keep the tradition alive.
We weren't born by the ska craze or the ska fad. We weren't created by someone in the boardroom of a record label, and we've been abandoned and touring for over 10 years, and we'll decide when we're done, or we'll decide when it's not fun or not cool. And I think that people will always come because they know that we're real.
The Specials were supposed to play Montreal last week, but got held up at the border thanks to problems with immigration.
So now they're hoping to make it into Canada late this spring or early summer.
And while No Doubt has taken a year off to record their next album, the Bosstones and Smash Mouth are still out on the road, keeping the ska beat alive.
From the Kings of Ska,
There's been an awful lot